Hello, everyone, and welcome to MeowMix, a Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And on today's episode, we will be previewing the Week 2 Panthers matchup versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Let's get that W. Let's eat that W.
At the old pirate ship.
Was it the sombrero for a long time? And then they just then they got the new stadium with the pirate ship. Either way, that stadium's actually really nice to go to if you ever.
It is. It's nice. I've been outside of it a few times. I've never been inside, but it's a nice stadium.
And don't sit near the cannons unless you have earplugs. The first time that's
just good advice, for regardless of where you are. Don't sit by cannons.
True. Very true.
This is episode 70, Jerry. 70 episodes of the MeowMix podcast.
That's kind of surprised me. I didn't realize we were already on 70.
Yeah, we're on 70. So before we get into the Panthers world real quick, I wanted to throw out a call to arms, so to speak, to everyone. I've got a buddy, best man at my wedding. I was the best man at his wedding. He has several children. Unfortunately, one of them has cancer, very young child with cancer. His name is Mason. And it's been a long struggle for them for a long time now, just over a year. And he's doing okay. But, as a parent, that's like your worst nightmare, right? I mean, you're a parent now. Can you even imagine, right?
No, not at all.
So they're doing a fundraiser with St. Baldrick's Foundation, which they donate money to help children with cancer. It's about as good a foundation as you could hope to donate to. So if you can go to stbaldricks.org/teams/Masons Warriors, or just search Masons Warriors at stbaldricks.org and help them out, just donate whatever you can, a few bucks here or there, everything helps. Really good cause, and I donated today myself, and I hope that you guys can help out. Again, great family, great kid. I mean, innocence, right? I mean, just terrible. So if you guys can help out, that would be great. I appreciate you giving me a few minutes here to talk about it. So let's get into some Panthers news, Jerry. Week 2, we are heading down to Tampa, playing Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady and that whole kind of an incredible offense. Or is it going to be an incredible offense this week? Let's go over the injury report real quick. We're going to start with the Panthers. A couple of did not practices on Wednesday. Dennis Daly and K1 Short. Matt Rule said he would be surprised if Dennis Daly actually played this week. So let's expect him to be out. K1, he's hopeful. Gross Matos was limited in practice with an eye injury. Wouldn't expect that to keep him out of the game Sunday. And then Farrah Cooper, Dante Jackson, Shaq Thompson, and Stephen Weatherly all on the injury report, but all full practice. So good to see Dante back out there. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, there's some interesting ones here. Anthony Auclair, tight end. I don't really care about him.
That's practice. Not their main tight end anyways.
Yeah. Donovan Smith and Jordan Whitehead, both also on the injury report. But the big names, Mike Evans, of course, we saw him last week, was limited with a hamstring, still limited. He did play last week. That was a game-time decision. But the big news this week, Chris Godwin, just on the injury report with a concussion. Did not practice, would not expect him to clear concussion protocol by Sunday.
I know, and I'm excited about that. You said Donovan Smith is injured?
Donovan Smith, limited practice with a knee. Could just be one of those maintenance things.
Okay, because Donovan Smith is their starting tackle.
Yeah, he's a starting tackle.
That's going to be huge for us because we need to get pressure on Brady.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the key of the game because that's what New Orleans has did to them. And even in the past, if you rattle Brady, he gets rattled. you get that pressure, especially up front from, well, hopefully KK and or Derek Brown or maybe FA in there. He doesn't step up. If he can't step up into the pocket, it causes him to throw some errant balls and everything else. I think that's my key of the game.
Yeah, I mean, as bad as people are saying that Tom Brady looked in week one, and he didn't look like Tom Brady. Like, we can say that. He didn't look particularly sharp through 2 interceptions. He still graded out pretty well on PFF. The 8th best quarterback at an 82.9 was a very high score. He's still got it. I mean, he still made some very good throws. But if he's going to be without Godwin and he's going to have a very limited Mike Evans, I mean, Gronk didn't look good at all.
No.
He did nothing. O.J. Howard has the talent, but for some reason they haven't figured out how to use him yet. You know, somebody that did step up, though, is Scotty Miller, wide receiver. And that's somebody that I had heard about just basically listening to fantasy football podcasts. They had talked about this guy as a potential Tom Brady type receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He had a big game, had a nice game last week. So he could easily step into that Chris Godwin role and maybe not produce like Chris Godwin, but give you 80% of the Chris Godwin.
And he's Chris going Godwin against our secondary.
Yeah, I was going to say, Godwin tore us up last year. So my key to the game is going to be Christian McCaffrey, because last year, again, 2 games against the Bucs, he didn't look that good rushing the ball. Couldn't get it going.
And that defense, for the most part, is all the same.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be big for us, getting McCaffrey going, because, you know, having to rely on the passing game still with this new quarterback, new offense, new everything, you know, I wouldn't expect them to be – I expect them to be better than they were in week 1, but not, you know, great. It's just week 2. So I think getting Christian going and getting the defense at least having to respect the run is going to be a big key for us.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious if maybe they'll try to this sounds so not Panther-wise, is maybe use the pass to set up the run, to do a lot of the dip and dunk, to kind of not put the 9 men in the box against him, and then that frees him up. I mean, again, their secondary is not the greatest. They have some good players, but I mean, overall, they're not the greatest. You know, we have some weapons out there. Maybe loosen them up, put 3 men wide, and maybe McCaffrey in the back, and, you know, see what they can do.
Yeah, the defense is well coached,
mm-hmm.
and I do think that they will get better as the year goes on. But this is probably a good time to catch them.
Yeah,
you know, being week 2, now they just got a ton of points put up on them by the Saints last week. That's the Saints.
I was going to say the Saints are special. We know.
So you don't know if they're going to come out and really clamp down and try to prove a point against the Panthers this week. But if they do, then you can also sort of use that to your advantage. If these guys are going super aggro, trying to make big plays, you can exploit that a little bit. So I think it's going to come down to some coaching here and see, you know, Matt Rule is going to have to do a good job of getting these guys up and then game planning to do things that the Bucs don't do well. You know, and that may not be, I mean, McCaffrey might not get 20 carries this game, but he might get 20 targets. You know, he might get 15 targets. And I think they should get McCaffrey more involved in the passing game, because he wasn't that involved in the passing game in week 1.
And that's such an important field of his weaponry. Like, he's such a great receiver out of there, and he's dangerous in the open field, especially since we really didn't utilize him in the first half running the ball. At least utilize him in the passing game. I was kind of surprised by that, and I'm really hoping that this week they kind of unleash him a little bit more with the other receivers out there.
I'd like to see them do some different things on offense. That offense looked very traditional in week 1. I like to see them. You've got all this speed on the field. Let's do some different things. Let's do some fun things, some end arounds, some screen passes, some quarterback, you know, not quarterback rush, but I mean, a flea flicker, a halfback pass, you know, like let's mix it up a little bit and do some things that they're not expecting.
So you're writing an email to Joe Brady saying, We know how this year's probably going to go. Have a little fun and let's find some tricks.
Well, and you say that maybe tongue in cheek, but Matt Rule specifically said we need to have more fun out there. He said,
Yeah.
we've seen. He saw some things that looked like we were having fun at times, and other times we just got real tense and tightened up. Let's have some fun. And I agree. Like, let's look at some of that Rob Chudzinski tape from 2011, where we were doing all kinds of stuff out there with a brand new quarterback, not much of an off season. Let's do some different things. I would love to see it, especially against the Bucs, who, are expected to have a very good team. They've got Tom Brady. They got all this hype coming in. Let's go out there and sort of show off a little bit. Hey, we're here too. Let's lead Sports Center with some crazy stuff. Let's do some fun stuff.
And let's shock the world and put them 0-2. I did see this. If they go down 0-2, are they just in shambles?
Nah.
Now, you think they'll be able to quickly
they'll
bounce
figure
back?
it out. They'll figure it out. I mean, part of the problem is, and I'm not going to take credit for this. I heard this on a podcast, but I thought it was really smart. You've got Tom Brady, who is a surgeon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Game manager, surgeon, whatever you want to call it. Surgeon sounds better than game manager, but he's very much, this is the play. You run the route. I throw you the ball. We move forward. You've got Bruce Arians, who is very much like a gunslinger type coach. Go out there and make a play. If the play breaks down, do something. The play's going to break down. Go do something. Tom Brady's not that kind of quarterback.
Well, no,
that's not anything against Tom Brady at all. He's the best at what he does.
Well, I brought this up before the season. Bruce Arians likes to throw the ball deep. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans are deep threats. Tom Brady is 43 years old. He may not have an arm to throw long bombs anymore. And it doesn't look like they really adjusted it. This is one game, obviously.
Yeah.
It didn't look like they adjusted their offense to be more dip and dunk like Tom Brady is.
And I think that should be on Tom Brady to, he needs to incorporate what he does well into the offense. He needs to, meet with the coaches and, hey, this isn't what I do well. This is what I do well. Let's do some of this. They've got the talent. I mean, yes, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are good deep threats, but they also are good route runners. They catch the ball well. They do everything well. And you've got O.J. Howard there, who's a good tight end. You've got Gronk there, who's the best tight end, or at least he was before he wrestled for a year. You've got talent. One of my questions for them is Leonard Fournette going to be more involved in this game? I mean, we just saw how Josh Jacobs gashed the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
If Fournette can get going, we've seen him put up incredible numbers in the past. So what would you focus on if you're Matt Rule? Would you focus on stopping the run, or would you focus on doing your best to stop Tom Brady? Because they can beat you multiple ways if things are going well.
Yeah. I mean, Leonard Fournette had 9 snaps last week.
I know. And Ronald Jones looked pretty good when he was out there. So maybe it's going to be more of a split. I would expect as the season goes on, they get Fournette more involved. He's the more talented running back.
Yeah. Honestly, I think you still have to – it's more – in my opinion, it's always get pressure on Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He's not a mobile quarterback. He has issues. He's had issues in the past when he has pressure. I mean, the Giants figured it out. I mean, the problem is just getting there, getting to him and getting there constantly to get him a little – I don't want to say scared. I don't think Tom Brady ever gets scared, but a little bit anxious in the pocket to get rid of the ball.
Well, and he's so good at getting the ball out fast. But they have to be running plays to allow him to do that. And I don't think they did that in week 1. So it'll be interesting to see how they adjust, coming into week 2, if they do adjust to Tom Brady, or is Arians the kind of guy who's like, go out and run my system? And I don't really know that about Arians. I'm not sure, because that's all we've ever seen from him, really. Yeah. I mean, Jameis Winston, we joke about the 30-30 season last year. I think a lot of that would be on Arians for not, telling Jameis to just go out and chuck the ball downfield.
And
I think that happened a lot.
And in his past with Carson Palmer, and I think it was Brett Favre before. I mean, or Peyton Manning, when he first gets there, they've always thrown interceptions until a couple years in, and Winston just didn't get those couple years in. It'll be interesting if he really does just force, the quarterback to learn his system.
Yeah. So do we, if Godwin doesn't play and if Mike Evans is hurt and not 100%, which I don't think he'll be 100%, I do think he'll play. Do we expect to see a better day from the secondary for the Panthers? I know we hope to see a better day. Can the 75% Mike Evans still be 100% of Troy Pride?
Well, Dante Jackson's going to be out there too, most likely.
We hope, yeah.
I'm going to say yes. I expect a little bit more this week from our secondary. I'm hoping we don't have 10 to 12 plays that we are running the wrong defense. I'm hoping – I believe we're going to be better this week in the secondary than we were last.
That's a good point. I didn't really think about Dante Jackson, but if he's back and Rasul Douglas has another week like he did last week, then I actually feel okay about our defense, or our secondary at least, because we know our safeties are good. And just another week of everybody, practicing hard. Rule said that they had a great practice today, that everybody was flying around. That was his quote. So that's good to see that, excitement out there and, work ethic. So
are we talking about practice?
We're talking about practice. No, but I mean, that's good because he was disappointed with our last practice before week 1. So to come back out after that loss of week 1 and then have a great practice, I think shows a lot, not only about him as a coach, but about the players on the team. All right. You ready for some predictions?
Sure. Let's do this.
How do you think this game is going to go?
I am going to stick to my preseason pick.
Loss.
My preseason,
you had them as a win, right?
I had them as a win, sir. I said the Bucs were going to get out of the gate slow just in general in the season, and I think people overestimated that team. I think that they're still probably going to be a playoff team towards the end of the season, but I think it's going to take a while to gel. And with Chris Godwin now most likely out, I'm feeling better about my prediction. I am predicting the Panthers win 34-28.
Nice. So I was the opposite of you in the preseason. I chose this as a win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I did not think that we would beat them at all this season. Much like you last week, I have revised my thinking, particularly with the Godwin news and then just watching them last week and seeing how sort of off they were. You remove Chris Godwin from that equation, and that's worse. So I also am picking the Panthers to win this game. Let's get Matt Rule the first win of the season. Panthers, 42. Buccaneers, 35.
So
touchdown victory for the Panthers.
I was going to say, so neither one of us are expecting our defense to light it up, but
I fully expect the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to score 30-plus points, and I'm hoping the Panthers can catch fire and do the same.
Yeah, my hope was to hold them under 30.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that if we could hold them under 30, I think that we have a very good chance of winning the game.
Yeah, I did too. Do you have any bold predictions?
I do have a bold prediction. I think the defense, a good week of practice, some game plan changes. I think that we do end up getting to Tom Brady in this game. I'm usually an offensive guy when it comes to my bold predictions, but I'm going defense today. 3 sacks on Tom Brady, which after a 0-sack game and really no pressure, I think is pretty bold. So, yeah, I'm going 3 sacks on Tom Brady, and I think we actually cause him to fumble at once. A little extra bold prediction there.
I was thinking about the sacks, but I did Brian Burns last week, and I got burned. I'm going offense this week. DJ Moore had a decent game, but it wasn't a great game. I think Robbie Anderson definitely outplayed him. And I think this week DJ Moore will get not revenge, but he will show that he's the number one. He will have over 135 yards and a touchdown.
There you go. That's a bold prediction. I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, that was sort of something I was thinking about for our earlier segment of surprises, was DJ Moore not really looking like the number one.
Mm-hmm.
So I do hope that he comes out this week and really can get open and Teddy can get him the ball.
Yeah,
I don't know if that was game plan again. Even Robbie Anderson, if he wouldn't have had that 75-yard touchdown, definitely would have had a much worse day. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So both of us predicting a Panthers win. Both of us predicting a high-scoring, entertaining game. Looking forward to it. All right. Any other last thoughts before we wrap this one up?
Nope, not at all. Go Panthers.
Go Panthers.
Thank you for listening. And if you like our show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbox@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on the show.
Yeah, everybody, again, please check out stbaldricks.org/teams/Masons Warriors. Donate to that if you can. We will be back on Sunday night. Did get the podcast up on Sunday night this week, so I was very excited about that. Thanks for listening. You guys really came out, and we had a nice first day of the podcast, so I appreciate that. We will be back on Sunday, and until then, go Panthers, and everybody keep pounding.